is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
If Bud was the best, I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He's hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion. I've only won one of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith confronted Floyd Mayweather for belittling Terence Crawford after his win over Canelo, emphasizing that Crawford made history by becoming undisputed in multiple weight classes, something no fighter had done before. Smith argued that Crawford fully earned his legacy and deserved universal respect, not criticism. He insisted that the victory over Canelo wasn't just another fight, but a defining moment that solidified Crawford's place among the sport's all-time greats, and said Mayweather's negativity couldn't diminish such an extraordinary achievement.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather shared strong opinions on Crawford's stunning upset over Canelo, stating that the loss would leave a lasting mark on Canelo's legacy. He described Canelo as the undisputed king of his division, dominant and respected, yet humbled by a challenger who moved up in weight to face him on his own turf. Jeff emphasized that this wasn't just a minor setback, but a permanent stain on Canelo's career. He pointed out that champions are remembered for defining moments, and for Canelo, that moment became a crushing defeat to Terence Crawford.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What did this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on, because even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. Because, the one thing is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was deeply impressed by Crawford's victory, calling it a historic and career-defining moment that he was proud to witness in person. He emphasized that no one in boxing history had accomplished what Crawford just did, moving up in weight to convincingly defeat a dominant champion like Canelo. For Smith, this wasn't just a fight. It was a turning point that redefined what greatness means in the sport and secured Crawford's place in boxing history.
This was Terence Bud Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence Bud Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
Crawford's trainer made it clear after the fight that Terence had nothing left to prove. Believing he had reached a level where his respect should be undeniable, yet critics still hesitate to give it. This frustration highlighted how, even after dominating one of boxing's biggest names, Crawford continues to face doubt outside the ring. His trainer stressed that Terence isn't even thinking about another fight, as his victory over Canelo was more than enough to secure his legacy. For Crawford, this moment wasn't about chasing names, it was about solidifying a greatness that can no longer be denied.
Terence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who was one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout, stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach, and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up, and he never accepted the fight. And so, with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford. And they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview, and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24,
Timothy Bradley offered one of the boldest takes by directly comparing Terence Crawford to Floyd Mayweather, arguing that Crawford now deserves a top spot in the greatest of all time debate. For Bradley, this wasn't just about beating Canelo, it was about redefining what it means to be pound for pound number one. He acknowledged Mayweather's mastery during his time, but claimed Crawford took it a step further by defeating Canelo at his peak. In Bradley's view, this victory elevated Crawford into a rare tier where only the sport's absolute legends reside.
It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it. That's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.